Item Number: SCP-Y-036. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-Y-036 is currently housed within the Museum of Omission, located in Provisional Reality-Y-1. SCP-Y-036-1 through SCP-Y-036-7 remain dormant during daylight hours and return to their exhibit by sunrise following periods of nighttime activity. Due to their inherent adherence to the ancient orders, the subjects cannot be fully contained in a conventional manner. Instead, the Foundation's efforts focus on observation, documentation, and limited influence over their nightly actions. These measures aim to monitor their movements, track their activities, and partially redirect their actions toward Foundation-designated anomalies. Tracking procedures. Each subject is equipped with spherical resonance transmitters, SRTs. These devices are embedded in the inner chest cavity and reinforced with an alloy resistant to impact and temperature changes. The SRTs transmit real-time geolocation data and activity metrics to the Provisional Reality-Y-1 Central Observation Hub, PRY-1H. SRTs operate autonomously for 72 hours on a single charge. Any failure in tracking signals must be reported immediately to the PRY-1H. And Mobile Task Force Zeta-0, Bad Bunch, is to be dispatched for manual observation and documentation. Black fog buildup within the subject is monitored via spectroscopic cameras installed in the Museum of Omission. A threshold density of 0.75 grams per cubic meter signals the likelihood of activation during the next sunset. This information allows for preemptive deployment of Foundation tracking resources. Redirection Protocol. Efforts to influence SCP-Y-036 entities' behavior involve a method known as Protocol Damsel-1, which has demonstrated a 17 to 19% success rate. This protocol utilizes anomalous directive beacons, ADBs, devices that emit signals mimicking the aura of dangerous entities that SCP-Y-036 is likely to engage with, along with a modified ADB signal to simulate a smaller and weaker life form adjacent to a human in the same location. Prior to SCP activation, Foundation analysts identify high-priority anomalies posing immediate threats to human populations or Foundation assets. Examples include SCP-Y-004, Craven Phantasm instances, SCP-Y-003, Cacophonous Incerata sightings, SCP-Y-026, Free Healthcare manifestations, SCP-Y-030, Halojack, active areas. Protocol Damsel-1 has proven relatively effective against any anomalies known for aggressive, indiscriminate attacks. ADBs are placed within 5 kilometers of the anomaly's last known location. Beacons must emit signals akin to hostile energies associated with target anomaly instances. SCP-Y-036 entities, upon activation, have been observed deviating from their standard patrol paths toward ADBs on rare occasions. Success rates are improved when the beacon is placed directly in line with their initial trajectory. Note: SCP-Y-036 entities will not engage anomalies that do not pose an immediate threat to individuals or groups, as this conflicts with their ancient orders. Attempts to redirect subject to neutralized or stationary anomalies have resulted in complete protocol failure of Damsel-1. Upon sunrise, SCP-Y-036 instances return to their original display positions in the Museum of Omission. Post-activity containment procedures include downloading and analyzing all SRT data to track movements, encounters, and significant timestamps. Cross-reference entity activity with incident reports of anomalies neutralized during the night. Inspect each SCP-Y-036 entity for residual fog density to determine the level of energy expended during their activities. Any significant deviation from baseline fog dissipation rates is to be documented for potential anomalous interference. Damage inspections. While rare, the anomalies occasionally show signs of wear following intense encounters, all damages must be photographed, catalogued, and repaired using a mix of non-invasive techniques and anomalous materials where necessary. SCP-Y-036 entities have shown a strict adherence to their ancient orders, engaging only in actions aligned with their views and perspectives. They demonstrate a tendency to protect individuals under direct threat, precision in disabling aggressors without unnecessary fatalities, preference for targeting dangerous anomalies over human conflicts. Despite the low success rate of Protocol Damsel 1, subjects have proven invaluable in neutralizing high-threat anomalies with minimal collateral damage. Continued research into their operational motivations and behavioral patterns is paramount to improving redirection techniques. By leveraging the tracking capabilities of the SRT system and the limited influence of ADBs, the Foundation can monitor and, to a small extent, guide SCP-Y-036's activities. The anomaly's unique alignment with its ideals and justice positions them as anomalous allies in the containment and neutralization of more destructive entities. However, their actions remain ultimately autonomous, necessitating constant vigilance. Description: SCP-Y-036, designated as the Crownless Order, consists of 7 blackened medieval suits of armor, each impeccably maintained and adorned with cloaks of deep midnight blue. Each suit is accompanied by a large sword forged from an unknown black metal, which does not match any known alloys or earthly compositions. The suits of armor initially appeared as empty, static displays within a corridor adjacent to SCP-Y-027 in the Museum of Omission. The corridor is lined with ornate stone carvings depicting scenes of knighthood, battle, and martyrdom, with the 7 knights posed in a variety of noble stances, appearing almost lifelike in their craftsmanship. At the far end of the corridor stands the display of a robed figure, clutching a staff composed of human bones, crowned with a half-shattered crystal. The swirling dark fog trapped within the crystal has shown to emit a faint, intermittent glow, but only when in close proximity to certain anomalous devices. The first recorded anomalous activity involving SCP-Y-036 was triggered during the extraction of the brainwave auditory reception device, BARD, which unexpectedly powered on as it passed through the corridor. Below is the full transcript of the audio log, believed to be a direct message received from the robed figure, identified by researchers as a possible necromancer, the betrayer of the cycle of death. Audio log SCP-Y-036 AL1, date November 14, 2000. Transcription. Method: brainwave auditory reception device, BARD. Location: Museum of Omission, Sector Z12. Provisional Reality-Y-1. Begin log.
In a realm where the twilight of existence meets the final breath of hope, a dark land where the ends of fates collide, 7 warriors cast aside their crowns. Hear now the tale of those who chose damnation for the light they once swore to protect. They were knights, bound by honor and oath, serving kingdoms long turned to ash, rulers long buried beneath their own greed. But when the time came, when the sun bled its last and the sky darkened with the shadow of the Ends Maw, they stood at the precipice, gazing into the void that sought to consume all that was good. It was then that I, the betrayer of Death's cycle, a master of the arts, long deemed foul and forbidden, was called upon by these 7 sons of the chivalrous order. In their eyes, I saw not the fear of the damned, but the courage of those who had nothing left to lose. Together we made a pact, a bond sealed not by words, but by the sacrifice of all we once were. These knights, these noble souls, cast away their crowns and titles, their glory and shame alike. They took upon themselves a new mantle, the Crownless Order. Their hearts beat no more, yet they move with the purpose of the living, driven by a code of honor even the gods themselves would envy. They chose to forsake everything. To uphold what is right, they severed their ties to the mortal world and became warriors eternal. In a realm where the living dare not tread, they now serve a higher calling. Where others seek power, they seek justice. Where others find glory, they find penance. I, who betrayed the cycle of death, am bound to them as they are to me, their master and their servant, a union of the damned that the living cannot comprehend. The chivalrous order lives on through them, though no songs are sung in their honor. No banners fly for their triumphs, no halls cheer for their glory. They are the shadows that guard against the abyss, the hands that hold back the teeth of the end's maw. And though they shall never rest, they find solace in their duty. For what is a knight, if not a protector, even beyond the veil of death? The price of their oath was steep, and now they are bound here, where the echoes of the past linger, awaiting the call to arms once more. They are neither living nor dead, but something between. A final line of defense in a world that has forgotten what it means to fight for what is good. They uphold the will of a chivalrous order, long lost to time, and though they stand without crowns, they are kings in their own right. Our world may end, but they shall fight the end's law unto eternity.
The audio log has been thoroughly analyzed by linguistics and thaumaturgic specialists at Site-Y-1. The tone and cadence suggest a ritualistic chant or recitation, possibly originating from an ancient knightly tradition. The use of the phrase, betrayer of the cycle of death, has led researchers to theorize that the robed figure represents a necromancer, a being who manipulates the boundary between life and death, binding the souls of the fallen knights to their armor. The repeated references to the End's Maw is believed to be a reference to Provisional Reality-Y-1, more specifically, a portal connecting it to their own reality, similar to our own SCP-Y-1. It appears as if the words describe a declaration not simply to fight for their own world, but to continue fighting the End's Maw even after their world met its end. It is believed that the 7 knights of SCP-Y-036 are not mere statues, but rather the physical vessels of an ancient chivalric order, brought back from death and cursed to remain in eternal vigilance. The necromancer, theorized to be the robed figure holding the staff, may have used forbidden rites to bind their souls, granting them immortality at the cost of their humanity. The shattered crystal on the staff, containing swirling fog, appears to be a soul stone or a vessel of containment, housing the remnants of the knight's original life force. This fragment may serve as a control mechanism, linking the necromancer to the Crownless order. Its current half-shattered state suggests a potential weakening of this control, raising concerns about the long-term stability of the anomaly. Incident Report 036 Shard 2. Date: November 20th, 2000. Involved personnel: Agent Silver, Researcher Kane, MTF Zeta 0 Extraction Team. Summary. On November 20th, during a routine inspection of SCP-Y-036's containment chamber, an unforeseen event occurred involving the crystal atop the robed figure's bone staff. Remote camera footage captured the moment when Researcher Kane, while conducting a spectral analysis of the crystal fragments stored in the adjacent chamber, inadvertently activated a latent energy response. A surge of dark energy reverberated throughout the chamber, causing the stored fragments to vibrate violently. This energy pulse was transmitted back to the main exhibit hall, where the robed figure's staff still held the remaining half of the crystal. The remaining crystal atop the staff emitted a high-pitched resonance before violently shattering. Shards scattered across the chamber, and the entire area was filled with an impenetrable black mist. For several minutes, all audio and visual feeds were corrupted by intense static and blackouts. When the feed stabilized, it became evident that one of the suits of armor, SCP-Y-036-3, had moved. Its position had shifted slightly, The left foot was no longer aligned with the base pedestal, suggesting it had taken a step forward before disappearing completely, leaving behind a dissipating cloud of black fog. Attempts to locate SCP-Y-036-3 using remote sensing technology and Scranton reality anchors proved unsuccessful. It was as if the armor had phased out of the local dimension, leaving behind no trace except for a residual cold mist that lingered briefly before dispersing. Manifestation Log 036-3, Wednesday night, date, November 20th, 2000. Location, Phoenix, Arizona, USA. Report. Embedded SCP Agent Turner, Local Law Enforcement Liaison, at 22:17 local time. Agent Turner reported an encounter involving SCP-Y-036-3. The agent, who had been investigating the sudden reappearance of an SCP-Y-3 cacophonous inserata instance, was on site with local police when the situation escalated. The SCP-Y-003 instance, a massive tentacled entity exhibiting reality-distorting capabilities, had manifested near a residential area. As local authorities struggled to control the situation, a set of pitch-black armor, wielding a large sword, emerged from a swirling fog. The suit of armor moved with calculated precision, engaging the SCP-Y-3 instance without hesitation. Eyewitness accounts describe the battle as a blur of dark metal and writhing appendages, punctuated by the sound of clashing steel and the unearthly screeches of SCP-Y-3. The Knightley entity fought with an almost mechanical efficiency, parrying the strikes of the tentacles and countering with swift, lethal blows. Within minutes, the SCP-Y-3 instance was incapacitated, its form bisected into piles of viscera, leaving only the night amidst the aftermath. Without acknowledging the onlookers, SCP-Y-036-3 turned away, its sword still dripping with the otherworldly ichor of the slain anomaly. It took several steps before fading into a thin mist, vanishing from sight. This encounter was the first documented instance of SCP-Y-036 displaying autonomous activity outside the Museum of Omission. It is evident that the animated suit of armor adheres to a code of conduct resembling a form of medieval chivalry, intervening to eliminate dangerous anomalies and protect civilians. Notably, SCP-Y-036-3 inflicted lethal force only upon the anomalous entity, demonstrating restraint in its interaction with non-anomalous humans. Manifestation Summary Report, date, November 20th, 2000. Duration sunset to sunrise. Recorded manifestation count 61. Global coverage. Multiple continents, including North America, Europe, and Asia. Throughout the night following the initial manifestation of SCP-Y-036-3, reports of a phantom night began to emerge from around the globe. Each sighting was consistent in its description, a black suit of armor appearing suddenly, shrouded in a thin veil of fog, and wielding a large sword made of dark, unknown metal. The night's actions varied depending on the context of its appearance, but several patterns were observed. In several instances, SCP-Y-036-3 appeared before individuals who were in immediate danger, particularly those threatened by violent crime. The night intervened with calculated strikes, disabling the assailants by severing limbs or rendering them unconscious. At no point was a life taken by the anomaly, suggesting a strict adherence to a code of moral restraint. Neutralization of hostile anomalies. SCP-Y-036-3 was recorded engaging and dispatching 2 additional SCP-Y-4 Craven Phantasm instances. Despite their incorporeal nature, the Knight's blade seemed capable of severing the entities, causing them to dissipate into thin air. This unprecedented ability to harm non-corporeal beings has raised significant questions about the nature of the sword's material. At dawn, just as the first light of the sun touched the horizon, SCP-Y-036-3 rematerialized within the Museum of Omission. Surveillance footage shows the Knight stepping back onto its pedestal, aligning itself perfectly into its previous pose. The black fog dissipated entirely as the armor ceased all movement, returning to a dormant state. Further investigation revealed that SCP-Y-036-3 had made appearances within Provisional Reality-Y-1 as well, eliminating several hostile anomalies on the outskirts of Outpost Y-12, located on the perimeter of SCP-Y-034. Each sighting was preceded by a noticeable drop in ambient temperature and the appearance of a thin black fog. The fog dissipated upon the Knight's departure, and all residual traces of SCP-Y-036-3's presence faded by sunrise. The armor appeared to follow a path aligned with an unknown set of principles, intervening only when it deemed the situation required its involvement. Addendum 036 Cycle 3 date, November 28, 2000. After the initial global manifestation event, further analysis revealed a recurring pattern in the appearances of SCP-Y-036 entities. It was determined that each of the 7 nights follows a specific cycle, manifesting only on its assigned day of the week. The observed rotation is as follows: Monday Y-036-1, Tuesday Y-036-2, Wednesday Y-036-3, Thursday Y-036-4, Friday Y-036-5, Saturday Y-036-6, Sunday Y-036-7. Site Y-1 personnel have taken to calling them Monday night or Thursday night, playing into their nightly visages and assigned days for each week. During the daylight hours, each suit of armor remains stationary within its display location in the Museum of Omission. As the sun sets, a slow build-up of black fog becomes visible within the chest cavity of the active Knight. By nightfall, the fog becomes dense, seeping out from the joints of the armor before the Knight animates and departs in a cloud of darkness. Addendum Y-037. Through further study, we have discovered that the SCP-Y-036 Knights appear to be conscious or aware of their surroundings during the period in which the black fog is building up within their armor. Through various tests and interactions, we have learned that they can move during this period, often lightly interacting with personnel stationed at the Museum of Omission if any personnel interact with the active Knight on its respective day before the period in which it steps off of its pedestal to perform its typical vigilante duties. The following is a collection of interaction logs involving personnel and the Crownless Order. Interaction Log 0361. Summary. During a routine inspection of the Museum of Omission, a Foundation researcher, Dr. Clarion, stood before SCP-Y-036-3 and performed a respectful bow. After several moments, SCP-Y-036-3's helmet tilted forward slightly, resembling a nod. Following this gesture, the Knight returned to its original posture. Dr. Clarion reported feeling a sudden chill, but no signs of hostility. This interaction has been interpreted as a form of acknowledgement, suggesting SCP-Y-036 entities may be capable of recognizing acts of respect. Interaction Log 0364. Summary. While SCP-Y-036-5 was active and tracking an SCP-Y-2, Nature's Folly, instance in a rural area, Foundation personnel followed at a safe distance to monitor its behavior. Upon encountering the Knight, SCP-Y-036-5 stopped and turned to face the group, raising its sword. It then pointed the blade toward the ground and gestured with its free hand for the personnel to leave with a shooing motion. Though no words were spoken, the action was interpreted as a warning to retreat. The personnel complied and observed SCP-Y-036-5 eliminate the SCP-Y-2 instance with surgical precision, severing its anomalous limbs before driving its sword through the entity's core. Interaction Log 0366. Summary. During its nightly activity, SCP-Y-036-1 appeared in a small suburban area, intervening in a domestic dispute involving an armed individual threatening a family. The Knight entered the house by seemingly phasing through the front door, startling the aggressor. SCP-Y-036-1 disarmed the individual with a swift strike to the hand, causing minor injuries but no fatalities. The Knight briefly turned to the family and inclined its head before dissipating into black fog. This interaction highlights the Knight's moral framework, which prioritizes protection while minimizing unnecessary harm. Interaction Log 0367. Summary. A controlled test was conducted to gauge SCP-Y-036-2's response to direct physical contact. A D-Class personnel was instructed to approach the Knight's inert form in the Museum of Omission. Upon touching the surface of the armor, SCP-Y-036-2 shifted slightly, raising its sword a few centimeters and grazing the D-Class's hand. The cut inflicted was deep but localized, demonstrating the anomalously sharp nature of the blade even in dormancy. SCP-Y-036-2 returned to its original pose immediately afterward. The test concluded with no further movement, though personnel reported a heavy, oppressive atmosphere lingering in the corridor. Interaction Log 03610. Summary. SCP-Y-036-7 activated as part of its weekly cycle and materialized in a Foundation containment zone holding an SCP-Y-4 instance. The Knight's sudden presence caused the SCP-Y-4 to emit an intense shrieking sound and attempt to escape. SCP-Y-036-7 raised its sword and swung it through the entity, which inexplicably dissipated despite its incorporeal nature. The Knight paused momentarily, as though assessing the surroundings, before dissolving into black fog and disappearing. The containment zone showed residual energy consistent with SCP-Y-4's eradication, confirming the Knight's unique capacity to neutralize intangible anomalies. The containment room of the SCP-Y-4 instance was later discovered to have had a minor crack in the wall that would have likely allowed the anomaly to escape, had it not been eliminated. Interaction Log 03613. Summary. A janitorial personnel temporarily assigned to the Museum of Omission slipped and fell while cleaning the hall containing SCP-Y-036. SCP-Y-036-7 animated to help the personnel to their feet and gather their work materials, before patting the personnel on the shoulder and stepping back onto its display rise. There are many such instances involving the Sunday Night, aiding the assumption among researchers that it is gentler than the other nights, and will often go out of its way for smaller incidents before its nighttime vigilantism. Analysis of interaction logs. The Knights of SCP-Y-036 have shown a remarkable capacity for understanding non-verbal communication and responding with gestures deeply rooted in medieval knightly customs. Despite their lack of speech, they exhibit awareness and intelligence far beyond that of typical animated constructs. Their behavior suggests a deep adherence to a strict code of ethics, one likely tied to their origins and the tale recounted by the Bard device. The fact that they consistently refrain from speaking, even when directly addressed, may indicate either an inability to vocalize or a conscious choice rooted in their chivalric principles. It is possible that they view silence as a form of respect or discipline, befitting their status as members of the Crownless Order. Further study is required to fully understand the rules governing their actions, but it is evident that these knights operate under a sense of duty and honor that remains unbroken even in undeath. Classification consideration. Following the manifestation cycle discovery and the Knight's consistent behavior in protecting civilians and neutralizing anomalies, several researchers at Site Y-1 proposed reclassifying SCP-Y-036 as a Thaumiel class anomaly. However, this reclassification was met with resistance due to the unpredictable nature of the Knights and the unknown factors governing their actions. Conclusion: SCP-Y-036 represents a complex and multifaceted anomaly, blending the principles of medieval chivalry with supernatural necromantic elements. The Knights operate under a strict code, intervening only when deemed necessary, and demonstrate a level of intelligence and autonomy uncommon among other SCP entities. Further research into the origins of the Crownless Order, the Robed Necromancer, and the Shattered Crystal is ongoing. Until more is understood, direct interaction with SCP-Y-036 is limited to remote observation, and all encounters are to be documented in detail for analysis. Object Class Status: pending Thaumiel reclassification review. This is Director Knightley, signing off on another report at Site Y1. I hope you consider subscribing to stay up to date with our latest findings. I eagerly look forward to having your audience in future reports.